Hari Om. Any queries are there? Anything you wish to look at? We can look at it, or we'll wait for participants to join. A couple of minutes more. Hari Om. Hari Om Rakesh ji. Hari Om Dr. Poonam ji. Hari Om. Yes, we'll just wait for 2 more minutes and then we can begin. All right, I think we can begin now with the invocation. Hari Om. सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. Hari Om. So with this we are going to start. What is our third adhyay? Can anybody recollect where is it that we stopped last? Anything from what we stopped, so we can form a link. Yes, please. And again, I request all participants who can turn on your video feeds, please do turn on your video feeds. It's much easier to interact that way. Yes, please.
So, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
So, yesterday, third chapter के शुरू में Arjun asked Krishna,
जी.
you have said that Jnana Yoga is something and Karma Yoga is something,
Okay.
but I'm confused.
Yes.
I don't know which is better, and why are you putting me in such a
घोर कर्मा.
ghor adharma?
जी जी. जी जी.
Then Krishna replies that in this world there are two things, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga, everybody has to do a karma. Not a single moment is there where you are sitting without doing any karma. But karma, how does karma arise? So he said something like Annad Bhavati
Bhutani.
Bhutani.
Yes.
तो अन्न से भूत, अन्न वर्षा से, वर्षा यज्ञ से, यज्ञ कर्म से,
जी जी.
और कर्म आते हैं नियत कर्म वेद से, उसका विधान है. एंड वेद इज साक्षात ईश्वर,
ब्रह्मस. या
ब्रह्मस.
जी जी.
तो देन यू फॉलो. एंड सृष्टि के आरंभ में ही ब्रह्मा ने बोला the humans should worship gods, and a sort of cooperation will be there where two of you help each other to grow. Ji.
Yes, ji. So one thing is we cannot escape. Even on Adhyatmic Marga, karma is required. Maybe a different type of karma after advancement is required, but without karma one cannot go ahead, is what Krishna said. Whichever marga it is, karma is there and everybody is going to do karma. There is no escape from that. Arjuna wanted an escape, but Krishna has closed that door of escape completely. So yes, ji. So anybody wishes to add anything further? Yes?
We were discussing Saraswati yesterday that Prajapati created this universe out of sacrifice.
Ji.
So this concept I have not understood.
Achha, this concept of how the universe, what is the sacrifice of the Prajapati in creating the universe? Ji,
Yeah.
yes, ji. This concept will be again explained in greater detail later on. Arjuna is going to ask what is this Adi Yagna, who is the Adi Deva. So that time it will be looked at in detail. But let us now look at it in a superficial way, just on a what we can say on a surface level. It is just one second, Dipti ji. I'll just yes, please. I'll come to you. So if you see a very strong, powerful boxer, and he enters into the boxing ring, and he says, "No, I will not use my right hand. I will tie my right hand behind." So what is this? This is has he has consciously chosen to become weak, is it not? Srinivas So it is like a conscious sacrifice he has done to for God knows what experiment he is trying to see. Something like that. This Akshara, this supreme, all-powerful, immortal one, has made a sacrifice in creating a mortal world. This is a Shara Vishwa. Everything is temporary. God is also behind the scenes. He is not coming to the front. Some crazy experiment, God knows what that scientist wanted to do, but he's done that. And so this is a sacrifice where in that sacrifice he has allowed that choice to rest in mortal hands. He's not made us robots just functioning as per his will completely. Somewhere the mortal, some consciousness has been put that Ekoham Bahusyami was a big sacrifice. I am one, let me become many. But I was once immortal, now in this many mortal forms. Maybe he is trying to establish his immortality in this mortal existence also. God knows what that experiment is, but that is a sacrifice we can assume, Srinivasji. Afterwards, it will be dealt in a little bit more detail in the Gita as well. Yes, we can continue. Yes, please.
I was saying that we also were discussing about the vicious cycle of desires.
G.
So
Desires
when you
will.
are doing a karma and if you are having a lot of desires, then you're always in that loop. You're always going in that loop. So you need to do your karma
So, how do
without
we let go of
getting.
the desires then, Dipti ji?
How do we?
Let go of the desires.
That we have to
We
see
have to see. But
how
Krishna has
Krishna
talked
says.
about yajna. Sacrifice is a way of letting go. It is something
Ah,
giving up what is
yeah, yeah.
precious. Sometimes we want somebody to behave in a particular way. We have our desire is that that person should function this way, and that gives the entire trouble. And by our desiring, nobody is going to behave the way we want. Everybody is going to behave only the way they want to. So what can we do? Best thing here is letting go, and that is one sacrifice. If you let
Letting go.
go, so this is the wheel of the universe. This is the chakra, is what Krishna says. With this sacrifice, evolution will take place. You don't sacrifice. You say, I want to manipulate. I want to control. I want to allow my desires to lead me. You're going to go in circles, and then that is going to, Krishna says, it's a wasted predicament. That was one thing we saw. Second thing, he said, karma bandhanas come very strongly. It is like these bonds are very strong because of desire, these attachments. Krishna gave the concept of mukta sangha samacharaha, free union. When say freedom, also you're united in yet free. Organizational and individual also is the same thing. When organization tries to stamp its dominance and there's no freedom for the individual, then what is going to happen? The individual will get suffocated and ultimately leave the organization. That won't help the individual nor the organization. Same way, individual says no. I have to be completely free from the organization. Somewhere the individual's personal ambitions start taking place and organizational aspect is lost. So again, this best harmony is when there is a free union, when there is united and freely, and that way when both can grow together. Something like that, devas and manushyas. Manushyas will offer sacrifice, they'll do prayers to the devas. That way, devas will receive some share of these prayers. And in return, devas will allow the Manushya also to grow. So, both, what we can say, the Samashti also will progress, the individual also will keep increasing. So, this is the arrangement that has been made, is what Krishna says. Of course, we do not believe everything Krishna says because we have to see whether Arjuna is agreeing to all of this. This Krishna is postulating right now. Yes, Ji.
So I have a question. We say let go. Is it letting go the physical aspect of it, or like for example, letting go the ego, letting go the whole
Now,
uh,
desire, letting go
thing?
of desire. Desires can be physical, desires can be mental, desires can be emotional also, driven by ahankar also. So, it is just a process of not understanding. It's like we try to hold on to water, it's going to slip from our hands. So, after a point, if we realize that there is no point holding on, let us stop trying to hold it. That is letting go probably. realizing it consciously that yes, this is not something which is going to, by holding on, it's not going to remain. So why try to waste our energies to hold on to something? What has to will remain, and what is Shashwat, what is Sanatan, that will always be there. One need not worry at all. So this aspect, I think Krishna has said. And 17th one, he talks about a very interesting aspect that for such a person, the need for work to be done also disappears for someone who has sacrificed everything. Meaning, a lot of people take this to that person stops doing work. Even in the Gita, there is Sarva Karma Phala Tyaga. So the phala is taken out and people make it Sarva Karma Tyaga. Krishna is not any time trying to give any escape from karma. Karma is there from 2nd Adhyay till 18th Adhyay. We cannot escape karma. It is a flux, which we are all. It is like our electromagnetic waves surrounding us. We cannot say we are not connected with it. So like that, this person who has sacrificed, what is he getting? Well, he is in a state of ananda. He is a truptatma. He is a santushta yogi. He is someone who is happy and blissful. Why? His bliss is not connected with the desire or fulfillment of desire. People speak nice of him. He is not going to suddenly rise to the skies because somebody has praised him. And somebody curses him does not mean suddenly from the sky now gravity is functioning and he is going to come crashing down. This person is staying in his state of calm inner self. He is there. He is reveling in the delight of the self, and he is in that ananda. He is able to experience the joys of every moment. And one beautiful thing Krishna is saying is that this person is a little free from these karma bandhanas also, and he is not having this restless desire to initiate works also. Works happen, he does work, but he is not the initiator. This is something later on it will be explained in the Gita. But his work is, it is like work is taking place, he is participating. Or how best example would be the aeroplanes in autopilot mode. What happens is all the time the pilot does not have to continuously steer the plane. After a while it functions autopilot. He just has to observe from far, intervene when required. That is the state of this person. This person is closest to what we can call a yogi, who is remaining blissful on the inside irrespective of everything, and this restless desire to initiate works also has disappeared. Let us see 18th one. So what happens then when you are not giving this sanction to these desires? We still have one important question: what is our motivation if not desire? Because every time we have been taught that we should not have desires. And in the children's Gita batch, it was very interesting when we taught Karma Yoga. We said do homework was do any one action without expecting anything in return. So one child came and very proudly explained what is the way of Karma Yoga that the child practiced. The child said, I gave my father a glass of water without asking anything in return. So this was Karma Yoga. But we all had a laugh. But our founder said, this is really Karma Yoga. He has understood a concept. Even though it is a silly thing or for us, why not offer a parent a glass of water? We must. It's a duty. But now many times people are like, I do this, I get something in return, and this child felt no. Then another said, I don't need pocket money. I'm not doing this, so I get pocket money because he did some good work, and then the household chores are complete. In US and some other countries, there's a habit of giving children pocket money so they understand the value of money as well. But sometimes all works, if imagine if the mother keeps asking pocket money for something, I am doing this work, I have cleaned the vessels today, so this is the bill, what's going to happen? It's not like that. And the child must also learn that there are selfless things also. Everything must not be done in return for something. So this child surprised the father by saying he did a very good work. It was a little tiring work, but in the end he said, I didn't do it for this, I did it for my satisfaction. The father really learned something very nice from this, and he said he was very happy to watch this. Some other child started doing Karma Yoga of arranging the shoes back after school. Instead of throwing the bag away, he started arranging it properly, not for anything in return, just for inner self, because that consciousness is there. And Krishna says the same thing, that when you are in that state, you are not going to be driven by desires. And many times we are dependent on desires, like a drug addict is dependent on drugs. So we want this to be fulfilled. I want this, so I will do this. And that is a great vulnerability in an individual also. Most of our vulnerabilities arise because of our desires and attachments. If we are able to be free from that, we can actually even eliminate the vulnerabilities in our personality. Let us go on further. Naiva tasya krutenartho na kruteneha kaschana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kashidarthavya pashrayah. Such a great one has nothing to be gained, neither in performing actions nor in inaction. Nothing exists thus in all of existence that can bind him with dependence. So Krishna says this. He says there is such a person, such a great person has nothing to be gained, neither in performing actions nor in inaction, because he is in that state. He is not doing it for a gain. Whether you are doing the work, he has a full clarity of mind on the inside. The right mental attitude is there. Any action that comes forth, he is able to not judge it on the basis of the desire or what are the returns from this action. He is able to look at it at its face value and do what is required. So there is nothing in the world that can make him dependent. Again, it is the same Sanskrit Subhashit which comes to mind. Asha yaye dasaste dasaha sarvalokasya. Asha yasi dasi tesham dasa ete lokaha. Means that person who is a slave of desire is a slave of the world. Anybody, if it's like if somebody finds out you want something, this is your desire, that's it, they have found your vulnerability, they can manipulate you with your desire. Instead, if somebody is there who has no desires only, and he has made desire only as the dasa, what is going to this person? He is going to become, he is the, what we can, Sarvaloka Maheshwara only, like that. He is the Lord of all. That person, he has conquered desires. So that is what Gita is saying. There's nothing that can bind that person. He is free. Many times there are in organization, especially in the corporate setup, the manager and the next in deputy to him, there are always ego clashes taking place, and then the manager says, I will see how you get a promotion. I am not, if you don't listen to me, if you don't obey me, I will not recommend your name. Now what is going to happen? This person is desiring a promotion, so for that promotion he is going to become a slave of that person. Instead, if this person just focuses on his karma, there is a case one person shared. He said his boss was sure. He put him in a sticky situation, made him do a presentation which was not likely to happen by him. But somehow he decided to take it up as a challenge, and he worked overnight for so many days. And when the presentation came and all the people, members were present, he presented so well that the members acknowledged him and appreciated him, and even his boss, who wanted to criticize him in front of everybody, had to, with a very fake smile, appreciate and say, yes, he is a good person, I have been looking at him all the time. So what has happened here? Your karma has been so powerful that he cannot be bound by anybody, and he never cared about that raise. So that is very, very important, because if you are dependent by that, this is the important aspect which Krishna is saying, that nothing can bind you. I remember in college, in the first year, our professors would say, your internal marks are in our hands. You better behave this way. The first day we were all scared. Second day, our senior comes from, we were mechanical engineering group, so everybody is known to have a lot of fights, inter-department fights. Always culprits would be from our department only, these seniors. And this one senior came and he had a big pep talk for everybody. Remember, you are all mechanical engineer students. You don't have to be like this. You have to be strong. You have to hate the other people. This department is your enemy. All this he started, and he said, they are making you afraid for 5 marks. Tell them, keep those 5 marks with you only. We will clear without the 5 marks. So this is a very, what we can say, one thing, it's a silly aspect. This is not those marks are internal marks, but more than that, it is a knowledge which you have to gain. But one aspect what he had told us, no, don't be afraid is what he said. And that is something, because when you have a fear or anticipation, expectation, these things have become a big burden that you carry on your head. And that makes the entire, what we can say, vulnerability of an individual, as well as that personality, the strength, all of it suddenly is drained off. So again, Krishna is saying no, no to desires. He says, don't bind yourself to desires. Don't become vulnerable because of your desires. Let go is what Krishna is saying. But the question still remains, what is motivation? Let us go on. We will come to that in another two shlokas. 19th shloka, Krishna says, Tasma dasaktaha satatam karyam karma samachara asakto yacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha. So, Krishna says, that is why he says, perennially perform all of your actions. Detachedly fulfill the duties that life sanctions. For when man in detached action engages with his karma, he transcends the highest stages. So all this, with your karma, you can transcend the highest stages. Sometimes even the gods have to, they are bound by the karma. When human beings do divya karma, Even gods have to comply. There is nothing which gods can also stop. That is what sadhana is. And Krishna is saying, perennially perform all your actions, perennially, at all, in all seasons, at all times, perform all your actions, all the duties that life sanctions. Now, what are these duties? We cannot say. Life throws duties at us. We don't really expect what duties come to us. Some sudden situation comes. One young wife, she got the bad news that her husband has got cancer, and within a 4 month period, 5 month period, he passes away. Now, what would this, if this she had the same depression like Arjuna and everything is useless, everything is gone, what's going to happen? She was just hardly married for say 3 years or 4 years, and then she has a child. Who is going to take care of everything? All these questions would have broken her down. Yet somehow, first thing is, her husband during her chemotherapy was himself detached, that he wanted to teach her business. ABCD of business she did not know. Throughout his chemotherapy, he taught her that. She kept her emotions aside and started trying to learn, and now today she is standing well. Her child is also uh, getting in school and now going ahead in life, and she's example of a very strong person. But she says, for me, my guru is my husband only. He is my husband because she is still with her and he keeps guiding her according to her. Even though he has left this plane, she is there and she has sacrificed. And this is a very big duty a life has thrown to her. Raising the child without a husband. How can she do? Looking after the monetary aspects, looking after the family. All these things are big burdens. But she's not taking it as a burden, she's taking it as a duty. And life has sanctioned this difficult one. So sometimes in life, what we get good, some things are good, some things are not good. But whatever comes, Krishna is saying, always perform your actions. Why? Your actions are going to help you come out. You know that yajna is going to be lit by this action only. And in that fire, the person is also going to get purified. We don't know. Vaishwanara only will come out of that flame. Gold also can get purified in fire. So what about us human beings? We will also with the karma. This is not the physical fire we are talking about. This is that Agni which is on the inside. So let us go on further. 20th shloka. So one thing Krishna has told, highest stages can be reached. Then what is the example of somebody who has reached the highest stages by performing karma? Now Krishna is going to say the example. And you see, Krishna had so many examples to give. If you see, at that time, there's Narada, there's Asita, there is Vyasa, so many great rishis who have achieved so many things. There are great Vedantic scholars. All of them are there. But look at the example in this shloka Krishna gives. He says, Karmanaiva hi sansiddhim asthita janakadayaha loka sangraha mevapi sampashyan kartumarhasi. He says, King Janaka and the rest attained perfection only through their works and liberated action. Detached actions for the sake of the world are best. This is said to be the true yogic way by the wisest. So Krishna gives the example of Raja Janaka. Janaka was a Raja who was surrounded by wealth. He was surrounded by wealth and riches, and yet he was not bound by riches, because many times people say wealth is the source of sin. Is that correct? Is that a right statement? Wealth is the source of all sin. Is this a right statement? Yes or no? And why? You can please tell me. Why is it and why is it not, if it is? Or what is your opinion?
Yes, because we'll have a confidence that we can achieve everything with wealth. We can buy anything.
So is wealth the sin, or it is the confidence or ego inside which is giving us that we have wealth so we can do anything we want? Is that thought is the problem, or is it wealth only that is the problem, Madhviji?
It's a thought that
Thought,
is the problem.
thought, is it not? Yes, yes. Because many times people associate that with wealth, and so all the good people say stay away from wealth. So what happens? All the bad people are celebrating. Yes, all the good people are staying away from wealth. So all bad people accumulate wealth. So what great karma are these people going to do with wealth? No, they are going to do it in the wrong way. This is how the force of Ma Lakshmi is taken over by the asuras. And Devaguna, all those people with good nature, they are saying, no, 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 we will not do. This is the entire problem. Our karmas we are not doing only. Sri Aurobindo had told very nicely, he had said, Asurasya Udyamam Shakti Dehi. In a hymn to Durga, he says, give me the strength of the Asura. I need that bala of the Asura and the guna of the Deva. Why not? Why not? Why wealth also is, why should a monk have to sell his Ferrari? There's a very famous book, Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Why he cannot be monk in the Ferrari only? This is the parampara of Sanatan Dharma, that we have had rajas who are living without a slightest desire for wealth. And the best example for us is Janaka Raja. There are so many stories of Janaka, how he was, the way he conducted himself. And for Arjuna, the best example Krishna felt was Janak Raja only, because he had all the wealth and yet not one penny of that was his. He considered it for the world, and what did he do with that? He brought about what we can say Ram Rajya. So that is why sometimes they say yes, it is better. But people also right now in Uttar Pradesh have felt a yogi is better to be ruling. Why? Because now he is not having his own personal desires. He will not try to get lured by his wealth to make his family members richer now. He will think the people are his family and they might start working for it. So this aspect of many times, the wealth is not the problem. It is how you use the wealth, and there is a requirement for it to come to the right hands. Then only we can bring about the great changes in the society. And then what should be the motivation for a person's action if it is not desire? Something is required. And for that also we get in this sloka, we get very nice 2 points here. One is example is Krishna wants us to be all like Janaka Rajas, our own whichever empire we are having, whether it is say just the Kshetra is your home or is it your workplace, it should become like Janaka Rajya only. It should be like that. You are the ruler there and you are bringing out full happy, like without desires, you are bringing prosperity to everybody around. And the next aspect he says, detached actions for the sake of the world. Loka Sangraha, for the betterment of the world. If that is the aim, Krishna is saying that is the way of the yoga also. Yogis consider this to be the greatest way, he says. Loka Sangraham. So Loka Sangraha is something for betterment of the world. Now my question is, when can we do Loka Sangraha? Where can we do Loka Sangraha? Is it possible only after reaching a particular post that Loka Sangraha can be done? Or it can be done at any time? Do we have to first rise to a particular status, only then Loka Sangraha is possible, or it can be done at any moment?
No, it can be done at any moment because, for example, if I want to help someone,
Yeah.
so I need to have that feeling that like I have to help this person.
Wealth
I
is
don't need
important, or
wealth is important, but depends upon the kind of help. Suppose, uh, I mean, so of course, if I have to feed somebody, I need some amount of money, right?
okay.
So it can be, and so the most important thing is the intent. The first thing
Intent
is
is
the
more
intent.
important than
Intent is
everything
very,
else.
very
Okay.
important because even if you are like a richest person in the world, but if you don't have the intent,
Yeah.
that money is like it's not coming for the society.
Ji. And what about poor people, Dipti ji? If those who are not having money, can they also help and do Loka Sangraha, or they have to first gain?
Yes, they can.
Can you speak?
Yes,
Yes,
they can.
please.
They
Yes.
can.
Yes, Srinivasan ji.
See, wealth is required, but definitely it is not necessary that if you have wealth, then only you can perform some good deeds.
Ji.
Good deeds can be done at any age, at any stage, in any surrounding, and not necessarily if you don't have wealth, you cannot perform. There
Ji.
are certain duties which doesn't require wealth to
Yes.
perform, but which will definitely improve the situation, which will definitely bring about a good change.
Ji.
Yeah.
Yes, ji. All right. Yes, Srinivasan ji has
You
told a
should be
very important
uh,
point. Yes, please. Yes.
just one thing. As like for example, it is as you know, you said that wealth is not required for every act. Like for example, if I have to comfort somebody, somebody is in
Ha.
in a
Emotionally.
state emotionally, or somebody is in a state like they're not feeling good. So I am comforting somebody. For that, I don't need wealth. If I have to say some kind words to somebody, I don't need wealth
But
because
Dipti ji,
I
is
am
that
trying.
Loka Sangraha? If one person you are helping, one person, is that Loka Sangraha? Loka means people, no?
Correct. What I understand is local means people. But if suppose in this, let's say if there's a group of 5 people,
Hmm.
right? And in that group, and they are working in a team. But if one of the team members is feeling weak, the team becomes weak. So if that one
Okay.
person is feeling better,
Ripple
it's
effect
like a
is there. It is a ripple effect.
ripple effect is there.
Okay.
Yes.
Ji. All right. Yes, perfectly. These are very nice points Srinivasan ji and Srinivas ji and Deepti ji have shared. So wealth is, yes, the wealth is one part, but more than wealth is, I think, as Deepti ji said, the intent is important. In one village, one mother, she is raising her child. She is raising her child. She belongs to the Muslim family and she is raising her child to be an Indian first. She is telling that child that yes, she is imparting what she has not got the chance to receive higher education or everything, but she has got the full opportunity to give her child a right setup of mind, how the child must look at the society, what should be the ambition, what should be the aspiration. The mother and father in that village, they raise their child in such a way that the child has nice universal thoughts, and then this child later on becomes Dr. Abdul Kalam. Now, Dr. Abdul Kalam did not have children, is it not? But how many children consider Dr. Abdul Kalam as a father figure? Even now in our village, a small juice seller has a photo of Dr. Abdul Kalam. Every day he does a namaskar and prarthana, and then he starts his work there. So this aspect of this child from one corner, from remote village. So the mother also was doing Lok Sangra, the father was also doing Lok Sangra, the teachers were also doing Lok Sangra, and we do not know how what karma leads to what action later on, what phala. We don't have to worry about the phala, but we have to remember about doing our duty. Lok Sangra is also a dharma which we must understand. We do not know, we cannot live in our bubbles and assume that the world will fall in its place. If we live in our bubbles, like what happened, Corona suddenly reminded our bubbles are all interconnected. We all got into the house because no matter what we have to, now we are connected. We just realize that even though we were not realizing how connected all of us are. So this aspect of Loka Sangra is possible at any time, at any given time. And if that is your motivation, it is an endless inspiration and endless motivation, because personal desire, personal ambitions, they'll help you up to a certain extent, after which it is like fuel is over for your vehicle. Then how will your vehicle move ahead? But Loka Sangra is something which is like continuously going to help you move ahead. And Krishna gives the example of Raja Janaka. He says, be like Janaka. Why do we give examples to children? The only reason they give example is because that example must be emulated. Look at that bhaiya, or look at that didi is told. Then the child says, yeah, I want to become like that. I want to become better than that. So this is what Krishna is wanting. He wants Arjuna to understand the example of Janaka. Yes, please, Deepti ji wants to add something.
Sure, sure. I want to just give an example from my own family.
Okay.
As you said of Dr. Abdul Kalam. So this I heard from my grandmother when there was a partition time. So
Hmm.
they would belong to the Pakistan side of the
Okay.
country. So when they were coming, so they were supposed to come to the Indian side. So the society, the area in which they lived, there were mostly Muslims there,
Uh-huh.
and he told us that they were rescued by Muslims only
Uh-huh.
completely, and they were Muslims
Yes.
helped them cross the
Okay.
sea
Ji,
by the
ji, ji.
army. So the story that she told the story to her children, and then that story got passed on to us also.
Okay.
And we were lucky to receive directly from her also.
Okay.
What happened in that whole process that we were able to understand the universal aspect of the whole society,
Of
not just
karmas are transcending
karma.
certain, and we do not know the power of our own karmas. So our aim is not for any particular motive or a particular objective. We just need to keep on doing our karma. Then what is going to happen, we will know. And aim should be Loka Sangra, because that is Sanatan Dharma. That is the way, betterment of the world. So let us see. All right, Deepti ji, let us continue further. यद्याचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तद्देव तरो जनः स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनु वर्तते. Whatever actions the best amongst men perform, the other men seek to imitate. Whatever standard he sets as the norm, that the world tries to follow and emulate. So whatever the best set the standard, is what Krishna is saying. And when whatever the best person does, then everybody else tries to, yes, whoever is best in this field, I want to become like this, because he has now raised the bar and everybody tried to emulate it. So probably Krishna is indicating, Arjuna, you will have to rise. This is a challenging situation. It's time for you to become the example that is missing here. You will have to rise. Don't fall down suddenly because you are not finding a way. You find your way, forge your path, but stand up, is what Krishna is indirectly implying. Then Krishna gives the example of Janaka. After that, he says one more example. He gives example of Krishna himself. Again, Arjuna can reach Krishna's consciousness, is what we can see, because Krishna is also saying this, that become like me, he says next. And look at what he says. He says, Name parthasti kartyavam trishu lokeshu kinchana nana vaptama vaptavyam varta eva cha karmani. O Arjuna, I have no duties to discharge towards the peoples of all three worlds at large. There is nothing I haven't gained or seek to gain, and yet I perform my duties, come sun or rain. So whether it is sun, whether it is rain, I have nothing to receive, he says. I have already reached everything. Yet I become a charioteer for one crying Arjuna. Yet I become a mediator for the Pandavas and go into the palace and ask as if he's such a great king. An emperor becomes a mediator, emperor becomes a charioteer, emperor goes gets bad names for doing something when he is actually upholding the dharma and he wants people to never forget what is the duty. If you see, the spirit of the action was what Krishna wanted to teach, because in Mahabharata we saw everybody getting bound by their own words, their personal ambitions, personal desires, everything was taking more importance. So Krishna is like saying, yes, but the word, what is the mantra? The spirit of the mantra also must be understood, because mantra is also a vehicle. And then when shabdas are given, words have to be understood in their spirit, and that was what Krishna was also doing. And not in every place, in every sphere, whatever act that Krishna did, whatever deed that he did, he tried to ensure. It's something like constitution was laid by Sri Rama, then the spirit of the constitution was upheld by Sri Krishna. Initially, there is no constitution, then there is anarchy. So we need a constitution. But then in the constitution, there are so many rules and laws which are probably obsolete with time. It is not required. Then what needs to happen? You need to remove the useless rules. You need to modify the rules that are, because they are again for what? Even that is for betterment of all. So something like that Krishna is saying next. He says, be me, it'll be like me, he says, when he says, look at me. He says, look at me, I have no duties for all the worlds. I don't need to gain anything. Yet Arjuna is having doubt. Even his dearest Arjuna says, did we want wealth? So we engaged in this battle. Krishna is willing to take everything for what? For upholding the highest truth. For upholding that, he is willing to go through everything. Why? He says, why? Because he has to be the example. Imagine Krishna did this wrong thing. Sometimes so many saints do one particular, they have, everybody's, you have some traits, some human traits are there. People hold on to that only. Why saints only? Even Shiva, the younger generation, a lot of my friends, no, weed is very good. Shiva takes weed, so we should all take that. This is a very wrong misinterpretation, and a lot of people do that. That is not the case. They have not understood the truth. But the wrong interpretation people keep taking and people keep making is a different thing. But Krishna says you cannot allow in your own eyes, or you cannot allow yourself to fall from the standard. You have to become the standard. And Krishna says, I will uphold the highest truth even in spite of myself being the avatar, or I am going to uphold everything. Look at Krishna, where he was born. Normally avatar is born, there should be celebration, everything. He is born in the jail, directly born in jail before doing any crime only. What is this? But this is the nature of our existence, and he is trying to say throughout all of this we have to walk through it. He goes on, why? He says, yadhi yam na varteyam jatu karmanya tandritaha mama vartamanu vartante manushyaha partha sarvashah. If I did not meticulously perform my every action and lead by example in every aspect, O Arjuna, all men would follow likewise and ape my path in every respect. He says, if I did not follow the highest dharma, if I made mistakes, if I was cunning like Shakuni, what would happen? Well, all human beings will also start becoming like that. They'll say there's no higher purpose. We need to just manipulate everybody. There will be no higher relation. Why Krishna? As a yogi also, Krishna was a Yogeshwar. Yet he did not leave his connect with the rest of the world also. He was connected. He had a very beautiful individual relationship with everyone. It was surprise. It was like, how is he? Is he like water? Mixing with any color and that color appears in that. That's all. But what is the original color? Nobody knows. That was how Krishna was. So he says, no, I have to, because if I don't follow, everybody else will follow likewise, and then it will create confusion and chaos. In school, we had a class monitor who was a little strict. Everybody said he's teacher's boy, he's like this only. He is always unnecessarily, you know, trying to get a good name for himself, and so he gives the names of us and he's trying to show his strength. One day he was on holiday. A second person became the leader, and now he was our friend, is what we all thought. So he just said, don't worry now, we let us enjoy today, no problem. And there was so much chaos that our entire batch had to go out and stand, because then the principal came and he saw that this class is the most unruly one. So what has happened here? The leader has shown a very wrong example, and the leader has set a long precedent. All the followers are going to follow that. We have seen now the leader is now going to be responsible for a country, now Ukraine, Russia, whatever. The leader is responsible for the fates of so many people. We don't even know whose fault is what, but they are all experiencing the consequences. So something like that. Krishna is saying, no, you have to uphold, you have to be perfect, because if you do not aspire for it and allow imperfections to spread. Many organizations, there are four, in a group of 5 people, 4 are incompetent. One person is the competent one, he holds the organization together. He does the entire work, and then somehow slowly. But what happens later on? After a while, even the others start getting the motivation and start working. Otherwise, if everybody decide no, what is going to happen? There's going to be complete chaos, complete collapse. Organization will have to be shut down, new organization will have to be started. Something like that Krishna is saying about the Srishti also. If everybody say no, we will not sacrifice. We all want desire, because our Lord is talking about desire. Runam krutva ghrutam pibet. You get your debt, borrow money and drink ghee. This is one type of philosophy somebody had said. Borrow as much as you want. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So borrow all the money, live your life lavishly and die lavishly. What is going to happen? Well, who is going to repay that runa? That debt, with the next generation pay the debt. And then we do not know how many runas we have to already repay. The time we are born, we incur runa from our parents, which we cannot repay only. As we grow up, so many things our parents take care of us. Where can we repay that debt? So it is better to remain humble, knowing that I'm already having a big debt over my head. But this aspect Krishna says here, he says, Utsi Utside loka na kuryam karma chedaham sankarasya chakartasyam upahanyami maha prajaha. For, he says, for if I were to not follow this path of action, the people shall follow suit and sink to destruction. I would become the perpetuator of pandemonium and then have to slay them all for this opprobrium. So he says, then I'll only have to become the. Now Krishna is showing that he also has a Rudra roop which we have never seen. We know the Saumya Krishna. He says, no, if everybody start following, it's a complete chaos. Then he says, I'll have to press the reset button only. Restart the Srishti. This Srishti will have to be destroyed if everything goes into chaos. He goes on further. So we see that the creation and the nourishment and the preservation of the Srishti and the destruction all are in the hands of the divine only. So the divine cannot afford to not move from his trinity, whatever karma he has also. We are speaking about karma, even the karma is binding the divine also. He cannot intervene also suddenly and start showing chamatkars. Now he has put rules, now he has to also follow those rules only. That's the big sacrifice he has taken. Let us go on further. Then there comes a big question actually. We are now talking about selfless concept. We are talking about a divine entity being the creator. Now, does everybody believe in this divine entity? No. Does everybody believe in selflessness? No. So immediately now there are going to be two parties, and then what is going to happen? There's going to be politics, and then there's going to be like Mahabharat, one more yuddha between those who are selfless and those who are selfish. Is it not? And again, then people, that is why many people say, no, no, don't read the Gita. They say Gita is responsible for fights. I have actually I've been told that if you keep Gita in your house, it will break families, is what one person is saying. Now, this is a very strong notion, but some people rigidly, superstitiously follow that. But coming back to our question is, so what do we do now? Because when we are working in our workplace or with our relatives or with our friends, we will have two types of mindsets. How do we deal with this? This is answered in the very next shloka. Krishna is saying this. It is very nice. It is important. Next two shlokas talk about it. Saktaha karmanya vidvanso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvans tatha saktaha chikirshur lokasangraham. So first he says, understand there are two people. One is driven by desire. Another is driven by their selflessness only. For them, lokasangraha is their aim. Whatever they do it for that. It is like sarve bhavantu sukhena. They just want betterment for all and lokasangraha only. They do not want something in return. That is one type. And there is other type which wants everything in return. So there are two types of people. First, at least identify that. He says, "O Arjuna, just as the men of ignorance perform their actions all engrossed in attachment, so too the wise remain motivated as a norm to better the world by their works in detachment." So for one, attachment is the motivation. What will I get? What will I get in return? That is the motivation for one type of person. All their works they are done accordingly. And the second type is that they are motivated by the same for Loka Sangraha. They want betterment of the world, nothing else. And that is their drive. Means what is the drive was the big question. Well, let Loka Sangraha be the drive, whatever work you are doing. If you are in the library, you do your work as a librarian with the aim of Loka Sangraha. I'm going to arrange all of these books in a perfect way that Ma Saraswati's presence will be there. Ma Saraswati will inspire the student to pick up the right book and the right page in the right book and quickly reach to that conclusion so that the person can go ahead. If a person is in the petrol station and he is, his job is just to put petrol in the vehicle, what is he going to do? No, I am going to do it right. I will not make a mistake in that, and I will do it in the most efficient way. Who knows how many seconds he is saving? Sometimes accidents happen because of a matter of seconds only. Maybe his work he is being utilized by the divine work for something else. If he is awake, he is conscious. If we are available for the divine, divine can use us anywhere at any time. But for that, we need to come out of our own selfish desire and somehow go a little bit inside so we remain conscious. And the best way to remain conscious at all times is to be aiming for Loka Sangraha, because that will allow us to not be self-centered. When you are not self-centered, you are actually more receptive to the universe as well. You will receive what you need to receive as well. So this is what Krishna is saying. And the next is very interesting. How do you function then? Because sometimes you are in a team. I remember one friend of mine who was my in college engineering. I had a very bad time in all my practicals for 4 years because my partner, whose name was with T, so immediately I was stuck with him only. Why I say stuck was initial first year I thought it's all right, he's going to have, but I found out later on that this is the second time he's coming to college, and he had managed to clear only one paper in nearly 12 exams, and he had no interest, and I did not know why he was doing it. And he had the notorious distinction of breaking a unbreakable tool also in the lab. Now this person, I was now going to, it was like what to do, it was, I was very nervous in the first year only, that now 4 years this person is going to be with me and all my laboratory experiments I'm going to fail. But then later on, my friends also came and they told me, see, you ask him, make him busy in something, you do the work, don't allow him to do the main work. And somehow 4 years we went past, we crossed all of it. And I don't know, he never completed his degree, he was not interested in doing that as well. So I do not know where he is right now. But this aspect, how do you deal with the people? This is one interesting thing. Krishna says, na buddhi bhedam is very important. Na buddhi bhedam जनयेदज्ञानां कर्मसंगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्. Without creating a divide in the ignorant minds, a middle path the intelligent mind finds. He gets the right work done from the attached, despite his remaining fully detached. So, without creating a divide, not wanting to create a divide in the ignorant mind, find the middle path, because just as you know, Loka Sangraha is your drive, you know desire is the drive of that person, so you have got that vulnerability of that person, you know what it is, your aim is to do the right work, so allow that person to go according to that mindset. Don't try to create a divide, because again everybody is going to function according to their philosophies. If you break that only, then the way of functioning only it is going to, if sometimes you break somebody's inner philosophy, you are actually going to sometimes open a can of worms only. If the person is neurotic, he will suffer individually, he or she. If the person is psychotic, that person will jump at you. So psychiatrists also don't do that aspect at all. They first try to allow that person to get into the comfort zone, and they don't try to immediately change the ideology. So your ideology is like this, that person's ideology is there. It does not matter. We want to do work. Let us look at the work. Your ideology is good for you, mine is mine. But if you know that, you can actually understand and move ahead, is what Krishna is saying. It is easier to work. And there was one nice a group of alumni wanted to do some good work, and every time we wanted to come to a conclusion, there was one person who would break that spirit of oneness by saying, no, we'll do like this. One particular teacher needed some kind of help. We had decided we will do something. No, 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 we should first form a trust. After forming a trust, we will get this auditor. And then, but right now there is a need, and we wanted, for 2 months discussions are going on and time is ticking. But every time and then, no, no, we cannot ensure how this is going to be utilized, how it is not. Somebody needs to go and get a list of all the requirements and check if this need is really true or not. All this discussion went on going. It was, and one of us decided, let's throw this person out of the group. But then that is also not possible because he's a childhood friend and we cannot do that. So what do we do? So we had a huddle who were working. We said, let's do something radical. We went to him and said, your ideas are brilliant. You are the right leader to take this work ahead. Under your guidance, our group will go very well. But right now we have this problem which is facing us. So for this problem, you help us. You help us doing this work. Help us collect the funds for the first few months. Then we will simultaneously start functioning on getting the deed ready and everything. Auditors also will be upon all of that. We will start. Let us right now pull in a little bit from our side itself. And you won't believe this person suddenly who was opposing everything now was very happy because now he is the leader. And first 4 months he was no trouble and he was more efficient than all of us together. He ensured that always that happened, and after 4 months he said, no, I'm getting little busy with life now. I don't want to do this work. I have set up everything perfectly. Now you can do what you want to do and trust we will see later. So the entire plan never went ahead what he wanted. But because we allowed him to be the leader here, it actually helped that person's mind. He did not divide and we got the work done. So something like that Krishna talks about is don't create na buddhi bhedam. We need not make a divide in the mind of a person. Instead of creating a divide, understand the way of the person and go ahead with that. It is in cartoons we watch sometimes. The donkey is made to run by a person sitting on the donkey holding a long stick and a carrot is dangling from the stick. So the donkey thinks that the donkey is reaching close to that carrot, but the carrot distance is the same because it is hanging from the stick. In the process, the donkey travels the entire distance. Something like that. The desire is one thing which is making a person vulnerable, but no need to create a divide in the mind. Somebody studies the principle of Gita, don't go preaching the principle of Gita to somebody who understands only selfishness. Instead, you be with your nature, let that person remain in that nature. Your job is the karma. Krishna goes on, next shloka, 27th one. Prakrutehe kriyamāṇāni gunaihi karmāni sarvashah ahankara vimūಢātma kartaham iti manyate. All types of actions originated from nature's qualities and their interactions. The ignorant one, who is by his ego deluded, thinks his outer self performs all actions. So all the types of actions have originated from Prakriti. From Prakriti only all the types of actions have come. We have been introduced about nature or the gunas of nature, or there are we called three gunas which we named as Rajas, Tamas and Sattva. They are just now slowly being introduced to us, and Krishna is saying this Prakriti or these gunas have a bearing on the individual. Nature has a bearing on the individual, putting a stamp on that and even affecting the karmas of that individual. But the ignorant one does not recognize this. He thinks he is the one, he is responsible, he is everything. Nature is not responsible for my way of thinking. I am only my own self. The ahankar is there in that individual. Krishna says, Vimudhatma, that he thinks he is the doer, that all his works are done by him only. Many times, if you see great music composers, they say, I didn't do it, it came to me. Now, they're not being humble. They're not being humble when they say this came to me. I didn't do this creation. It came to me or I just felt it. It is an experience, and they have got that sakshatkar that they are not the doer. It is really something which has come from somewhere. They understand that, and but that is not the case for somebody who is driven by his ahankar or her ahankar. The person thinks, no, I am the alpha, I am the omega, I am everything for this entire work. Karta aham, is that feeling is there. तत्त्ववेत्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते. O mighty armed one, those who know the foundation of how nature's qualities through works function know that senses attached to sense objects and are unperturbed and detached in all aspects. So those people who understand, yes, they say yes. Now somebody tells you something bad, normally you are going to react, is it not? But if you realize that this somebody is going to tell you something bad and that bad is not going to define how you are about you, you will not react just because you have heard something, just because you have said something. Sometimes you speak something and then you only feel guilty about it. When you are following, you are conscious of your own inner self, you are true, then you don't need to be disturbed, you don't need to be unperturbed, and understand the way of functioning. Nature is there, senses will attach to sense objects. So don't allow the senses to take you astray. Understand you are something more than your indriyas. Because what is your identity is the important question. Vedantic Rishis also ask the same thing. Koham soham. I am that. Why? Means they start, who are you is the question that they ask oneself. Who are you? Are you your job? Are you your identity card? Are you your eyes? Are you your nose? Are you your... Now Corona people gave a lot of importance to their taste. For them everything, taste of life is in the tongue according to them. And suddenly all of them lost the taste and they were like, now what is it my life? What am I going to do? I'm not getting the taste. They were more worried than the respiratory problems. They were more worried about not having taste at all, because they identified themselves with the taste. So are we our indriyas only, or are we something more? And when we realize that we are something more than our indriyas, that time, just because our indriyas malfunction or indriyas give us wrong signals, we do not get so disturbed. We are able to face things in an unperturbed manner. Krishna goes on, Prakrutir guna sammudhaha sajante guna karmasu tan kritsna vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet. But these qualities of nature bewilder the ignorant, who wish not to forego attachment at any instant. He who knows should from disturbing them abstain, and from altering their mental state he should refrain. So Krishna is clearly advising, he says, don't try to alter the mental state of somebody who believes in attachment only. Why? Because you are going to, again, later on we will see how important it is. Shraddha is very important to an individual, and it is not our job to break anybody's Shraddha. Even if that person is thinking of attachment, is in ignorance, unless that person comes Shishyasteham Shadinam Tvam Prapannam, and unless you are Krishna, you should not go into this state where you have to start altering a state of mind. Because when the mind is not conducive, what is going to happen? It is going to create only disturbance. No matter all your best intentions, they will fall flat. And because they are now driven by the desires, they are indriyas, they will not understand the language of detachment. They will not understand anything higher than what is there, driven by desires. So don't try to disturb them or alter their mental state. Many times you become the example, they will consciously come and ask, how did you not get disturbed in this situation? I keep getting disturbed, how do I do it? And then you can explain. But yourself, do not go ahead, is what Krishna is saying. Then again, one more aspect we see. So we see slowly Krishna revealing his divinity. Once he told about meditating on him. Once he told about if I don't follow the rules, and then people will follow me likewise, then I'll have to destroy the world. So we see Krishna is not just his friend Krishna. Krishna is also Bhagwan Shri Krishna for Arjuna. And once more we see one more in the dialogue of Krishna. We see that मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि संन्यस्याध्यात्म चेतसा निराशे निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वर. Consecrating your actions to me, the supreme I. So he's saying, consecrate to me. Not to just Krishna. Krishna is not what, how many foot, 5 foot, 8 inch, what is the height, I do not know. It is not, Krishna is referring to his supreme, his divine existence also, which is behind the Krishna that Arjuna is seeing. He says, consecrate all your actions. Let all your actions be offered, he says. Meditate upon yourself, that is a part of me. There is inside of Arjuna a supreme entity. What we saw already, Nainam Chindati Shastrani, that which cannot be cut by any weapon, that is inside of Arjuna only. He says, become conscious. When they say this, these are all Vedantic statements. Amrutasya putra vayam. We are children of that immortal consciousness. What does that mean? Does that mean tomorrow we can just go to the battlefield and bullets will not hit us? No, it's not that. It's recognize your consciousness, recognize that spirit inside of you. Rise in your level of consciousness. You are not sinners, you are not product of sin, you are immaculate and pure on the inside. That aspect the Rishis say, when you recognize that, you are going to raise your consciousness further. And why do you carry a guilt of something you have not done? You are not impure. Maybe impurities come from the Srishti, impurities come from outside. Clean them, but go into that state of mind. So like that, Krishna is saying, consecrate your actions, all your actions, consecrate them. Meditate upon that part of me that is inside of you. Inside of you there is this divinity. Without holding on to any desires or prestige, without grief, without remorse, ready your weapons to lay siege. He says, forget your grief, forget your remorse, forget about the prestige that will come, forget all of it. Forget your desire of victory or good name, everything you forget. Just ready and focus on the action, focus on your karma. Inside you is a divine being, is what Krishna is saying. Whether Arjuna agrees, whether he accepts, that is a big question. We will see that. Let us go on further. We go to the last two shlokas and we will stop. Ye te matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyanto muchyante tepi karmabhi. Shraddha is introduced here. Shraddha comes every time too. It is like in a game you have a cheat code and suddenly things become very easy. Something like that. Sadhana becomes very easy with Shraddha. Shraddha cannot be artificially implanted. It has to rise in the individual. We have to wait for it if it is not there, but it must come. We can create the conducive atmosphere, but it has to come naturally. Let us see what Shraddha is. Why is Shraddha being introduced suddenly now? Those amongst men, Krishna says, those amongst men who regularly perform and to my instructions they dutifully conform with the purest and blemishless devotion. From karma's bondage they attain redemption. So just by Shraddha also you perform all the duties. He says you take these words that I am saying, if you sincerely take them and follow all your actions, offering everything to the divine, you will get redemption. You will get redemption from all this bandhana of karma, is what he says. Just pure devotion. Shraddha alone can do that, is what Krishna is saying. This is something new which he is introducing. How is it useful? Is Arjuna going to have now Shraddha to Krishna? Is he going to say Om Jai Jagadishwara Hare? Is he going to immediately say that? Or is he going to say, no Krishna, what are you saying? I don't understand. That we have to see. We'll stop at the next shloka, the 32nd one. The 32nd one we see, Ye tva etad abhyasuyanto nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudhanstan vidhi nashtana chetasaha. Those who lack the conviction and regard and my instructions they bluntly disregard. From all knowledge they are by their ignorance deluded. From a growth of consciousness they are excluded. But there is no Shraddha. Krishna is talking about the consequences of no Shraddha. He says those who lack the conviction, those who lack the regard, they don't have any regard. Whatever instruction I am saying about this selflessness, he says you don't follow it. You are not going to receive the knowledge, you are going to be excluded from that growth in consciousness. Now we stop here, but my question is this sounding like a curse that Krishna is planting? You follow me or you are going to suffer. Some people say you have to follow a particular cult, or some cults want you to follow. If you don't follow, you will suffer. Is that what Krishna is now trapping? So far he was very nice. He was giving the freedom. Has he suddenly turned it off now by saying this? Because he's talked about Shraddha and now he's saying this, that if you don't follow this, you will not grow. Is this a curse that Krishna is putting? Yes, no. Why is it not? If it is or if it is not? Yes, please. Anybody?
Krishna is revealing the truth.
Okay, but is it not an angle of curse? Is he not trying to say if you don't have it, you will suffer? Is he saying like that? Or it's just a natural consequence of action and reaction?
It's a natural
It's a natural one, is it not? It is like you touch fire, your hand is going to get burnt. It is not that because somebody has cursed you, your hand is getting burnt, because that is a property of
Yeah.
fire, is it not? So something like that, he says, if you do not have. Yes, Rakiji wants to add. Yes, please. Ji, Rakiji.
Yeah, it's like when you have faith in something, you start enjoying that, doing that thing, and then when you do it out of love, it's going to result in only
Good.
excellence.
Excellent. And there is a confidence also when there is faith, is it not?
Yes, yes,
And even an atheist, it is said, if you don't have faith in God, at least have faith in yourself, because somewhere
yes,
Shraddha must be there.
exactly. Yeah,
If
yes,
that Shraddha is gone, then there is, it's like if you can't even hit a, a nail onto the wall with a hammer if you don't have Shraddha. If I have a doubt,
absolutely.
if
Faith
I,
in the
yes,
self, faith in the divine.
yes, here faith, Shraddha is
Di-
talked about. Shraddha, Krishna is introducing the Shraddha of the divine, yes, and Shraddha in the instruction of letting go of desire. Mam phaleshu kadachana. So having that Shraddha, he says, will help you become free from the karma bandhana also. Yes, please. Yes, Rakiji. Ji, ji. Usha ji wants to add something.
Yeah, one point that I think might help
Yes,
in
ji.
understanding. To tame the mind is not easy, and he knows that it's not easy to tame the mind. So the most beautiful way he says is devotion.
Okay. Yes, yes. So devotion is one thing. Sometimes it is so
Yeah.
nice. We have faith in the divine. A ship was sinking once, and in that ship, everybody started running around. But now the father knew that this is a very dangerous thing, what's happening. So he just tells his son, son, whatever happens, hold on to this place. Don't move from here. I'll come for you. Now the son
Yes.
holds on to that place very firmly, and all the people start running here, there, some go on the wrong side and everything. But this child has full faith in the father and he stands there. A captain comes and asks, wait, what happened? Are you not afraid? Look, all the elders are running that side. He said, no, I will not go there. He said, why? No, my father will come, he'll take care of me. You know, the ship is sinking, but his Shraddha has now taken him completely, and his father knew that, and is a trusted source whom he could trust. And he's told you stand there, and that was the safest place which he had studied, and he understood that. So, this aspect of Shraddha sometimes it helps us, the troubles of our mind. We can, with our Shraddha, if we can just. But the problem is, Shraddha cannot be imposed or even artificial. Even if what is good for you, you cannot, force it, or you cannot by auto suggestion. I want Shraddha, I will have Shraddha. It has to come
He has
naturally.
introduced it at this point,
Yes.
and in probably the next shlokas or the next chapters, he will also introduce how to have that shraddha itself.
Or
That
naturally,
practical
Arjuna will
means.
naturally have the Shraddha, because maybe naturally Arjuna might develop it on its own. Krishna is just probably creating the ground and introducing that, yes, Arjuna, if you have not thought about Shraddha by now, have some faith. This aspect has been touched. Yes, Ushaji.
And one more
Yeah.
way of looking at it is, because we are all lost in our own world with ego, we think that we are doing everything. So this is the first attempt to make the mind more humbler.
Yes, yes, yes. That there is a higher plan, there's a grander plan, there is a, because now if you see, the world thought it has its control, everything in control. Suddenly one small entity which is not, people are not sure it's a living or non-living. That microscopic particle suddenly, moved the entire world, which was advancing so much. So somewhere showing that yes, we are not everything. Something is there, something which is binding us all. Something there is a play of forces taking place. So maybe yes, Ushaji. Maybe it will make us humbler if we recognize that. Yes,
I want
yes,
to
The
share
very
a small
fact,
story.
yes, Ji. Yes,
sorry.
please. Yes, please. Whoever, anybody. Yes, please.
I want to share a small story what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji had
Ji,
told.
Ji, sir.
There will be a Pandit
Ha.
on the other side of the river, and a lady will be giving milk to him every day in the morning.
Hmm.
One day she misses, she will not be able to come because of the heavy rain and the floods are very high in the river. When she comes the next day, the Pandit says, why you didn't come yesterday?
Ha.
No, the river was overflowing, I could not.
Ha. Ha.
You must have faith in God. This Pandit is a great worshipper of God.
Ha. Ha.
You must have faith in God. He'll show you some way. The next day also it is going to heavily rain, and she has faith in God, and she comes and delivers the milk. How did you do it today? Yesterday you were not able to do it. No, you told me to have faith in God. I just walked across the river. I never sank into the river. Then
Yes.
this Pandit will not believe what happened to her. How can she walk on water? Then he comes to the shore and he wants to see how she did it. Again, she goes with the same faith and back, but he wants to follow and he will sink into the river.
Okay. So he's not able to. He's not. He's having a doubt.
He's
She.
only having theoretical knowledge, not
Ha. Ha.
real faith in
Yes, yes. I think this was a very nice quote. I think if it is Swami Vivekananda, I'm not sure, but I remember in school, you can move mountains, you can drain oceans. Faith, faith, faith in thee, faith, faith, faith in God. So Shraddha in yourself and Shraddha in the divine, that the divine will use you for doing the right thing. Probably that is an important aspect. It is nice that Krishna has introduced the concept of Shraddha. We will, yes, please.
I
Dipti
have
ji wants to add
I
something.
have a,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
I have an example like for kids, they have full faith in their parents as well as their teachers.
Yeah,
So I mean, they don't doubt them, they don't question them.
yes.
They know that whenever they're in trouble or in happiness or in despair, they will be there. Like for example, one day I told my son, he was like crying and because he wanted something, I said, it's okay, maybe something else is planned. Let's see if we can plan something better. Just said that one day. So after a few days, something happened, and he just came to me. He was crying, and in that crying state, he came to me that I'm not feeling good, but I think there's something better planned for me.
Okay.
So
So nice.
I I will just second because I just said in some other example, other state of mind when he was in, and then he used it and he recalled. So I mean, it was like we all relate to it. Only thing is that how do we understand it and when do we
Ji,
understand
ji,
it?
ji.
The faith part of it.
Yes, ji. Yes, ji, yes, ji. So it is looking interesting now.
Absolutely.
Ji, ji. Now the
So,
Gita we'll see. Yes, Rakhi ji. Please go on.
yeah, so nice, Deepti ji and Usha ji. Just to add to them, it's like Arjun all along the way he has faith in Krishna, and that is why
Yeah,
he chose Krishna over the Narayani Sena,
yeah.
and he confided in him that he knew that he was the one who could take him out of this turmoil. So that is why he asked Krishna to take the Rath
Yes,
in the middle and give him that
yes.
divine knowledge that
Ji, ji,
he
ji.
he was seeking. So
So,
all along this, he has faith.
but somewhere
So
he is
the Shraddha,
forgotten, like somewhere like
yeah,
Maruti forgot his strength. So he forgot the power of his Shraddha. Is it not?
yeah, yeah,
So that is
yeah.
why he's in trouble right now. So,
And
yes.
basically that had to be delivered to us also. So
Ji.
that's the
Yes, yes,
reason
that
that
is
it
true. Yes, we are lucky.
all happened.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, Rakhi ji, absolutely. So
thank
now
you.
before we, I'll conclude again and with the Shanti mantra. After that, we will give the usual rating after the session, of course, for Arjuna. What do you think about Arjuna? How much is he grasping? We will see that after the Shanti mantra. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम हरि ओम yes the last part about Arjuna, how much do you think? Yes, please.
Um, Even though Arjuna has faith on Krishna,
Yeah,
now and then he is also having
doubts.
he is easily he is not convincing or
Yes,
not come to
yes.
the state of
Ji, ji.
balanced mind, so that Krishna wants to give these advices with some
Ji,
stressfulness, or
ji, ji.
firmly he
Yeah,
wants to
ji.
uh, advise
Advice.
Arjuna,
Yes, yes.
so that he can be little bit
Yes,
what's a
more
little
confident. Yes, yes.
harder than before.
Yes, yes, Pushpaji. But now, if you see, now Arjuna, is he going to get convinced? Krishna has talked about Sharan, he's talked about surrendering to the divine and having faith in the divine and becoming like a yogi. Is it easy what Krishna is saying, or it is, what do you think Arjuna will grasp how much percentage out of, on a scale of 10, what would you put score? Just this is of course after session, post session we are having a light-hearted discussion on this. Again, Arjuna is
Uh,
not Chiranjeevi. I am taking full advantage of that. Yes, please. Ji.
uh, I think after Krishna's speech, he is not revealing himself until this
Okay.
sloka. So
So,
it's very difficult to assess him
okay. So
at
assessment
this
is
time.
difficult. Okay. Pushpaji says I will not assess. All right. Anybody else wants to? So it will be interesting to see Arjuna's. Okay, Dipti ji. Yes, please.
See, Arjuna is a question. I mean, we all are sitting here, right, lightly listening about it. But Arjuna is in the battlefield,
Yeah.
and of course, we know that he's in a chaotic state, or
Situation.
he's in depression, and
Ha ha.
but because Arjuna is questioning, like asking questions to Krishna, so it can be like he's trying.
To
He may
understand.
not be able to understand, but he's
Trying to.
trying. I mean, what is he saying? Like, suppose, for example, if I am in Arjuna's place, I would be like, what are you saying? But then suppose somebody is telling me something in different ways and giving me different examples, I would really think for a time that, okay, let me to
Okay.
understand. Although I'm not in a state of mind,
Okay.
maybe I will give Arjuna two
Yeah.
at this stage. From 0 to 2 we have come.
So you will give how much? 0 to?
So I gave 0 2 days back, and I will give 2
2
today.
marks. Okay, 2. Okay. All right. We'll conclude after one or two more. Anybody wishes to add? Yes, please.
No, he is being a good listener
So,
to Krishna.
ha.
That is the positive side.
Okay.
Otherwise, he would have left the battlefield.
Okay.
So so I would definitely rate him at least 5.
5. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, let's say
Okay.
scale of
5.
I
1 to
think
10. Yeah, so
Okay.
he's showing some patience
Okay,
and
ji.
trying to get convinced.
Ji, ji, ji. Yes, Srinivas ji. All
Yeah.
right. Yes, yes. Okay. Usha ji wants to add. Yes, please.
yeah, I think Arjuna and Krishna were very good friends right from childhood. Arjuna for sure knows that Krishna has the answers to many of his questions.
Okay.
But this knowledge that is revealed during the Kurukshetra war in the Gita, this kind of discussion might have never happened in the
Never.
past.
Yes, yes.
He has seen the Leela of Krishna.
Yeah.
He has seen how he can handle situations which are very, very dangerous, and
Yes, yes.
I mean, it can flip the coin. So, but he is
Discussing.
not having, yeah,
He's not doing
having
it
the
now.
deliberation. I mean,
Yeah, he's like,
no
why is he not
discussion.
doing anything? Why is Krishna not doing? He should do some miracle. He's waiting for me and he's talking philosophy. That too,
Yeah.
high philosophy. So what would
Yeah.
you say, Ushaji? Just quickly on a scale of 10.
I feel until this point he's still trying to understand, and the rating would be, I just have belief, faith in you, but I do not know how to handle this. I do not know how to practically go with what you say.
50-50, is it, Ushaji?
He
Yeah.
doesn't
Okay,
want to see
okay.
the symptoms.
So what I have until now is the belief.
Okay,
The
all right.
faith.
Ji. All right. Yes.
Krishna,
Yes,
Krishna
sir.
wants to treat, doesn't want to treat the symptoms. He
Hmm.
wants to go to the root cause.
Ha
So he
ha.
is waiting.
Yeah, he's waiting. Okay, yes, we will
And
see.
Krishna knows what
Yes,
to give, how
what
much
to
to
give.
give,
He's a
when to
right
give.
Vaidya. He knows he's a right Vaidya. He knows what must be given. So yes, we will see. And interestingly, Arjuna is going to give his report card immediately in his shloka. He's going to say how much he understood very shortly when we come to it. So we will see tomorrow. I think with this we will conclude today's session. Unless anybody has any query or anything from the Gita that we saw today. Any question is there? I can look at it, or we will conclude now. Yes, please. Actually, after a while, then you will only say, don't dare rate Arjuna now, because Arjuna has transformed. As of now, Arjuna is still in our reach, we can say. After a while, he'll go too ahead. We'll have to just emulate him. He is going to become our example later on. Yes, please. Ji.
Srishmaji,
Yes.
is there any other chanting of Gita class? Because I also want to learn how to chant the shlokas.
But I think there are many organizations which are having that. I think even online you will find some nice videos on YouTube as well. Our organization is, they are not having it, having this right now. Our aim is actually mostly it is the children's batches which we are having. Adults batches have started because children started talking about Gita in their home. Parents came to us, and so we started this. We don't have chanting sessions, Ushaji. Yes, but they are available online. Very nice chanting methods are there. I'll just see if I know somebody.
Yes, it will be nice if you can also
One
suggest.
participant, Tara Devi ji, was there in one batch. She herself teaches how to chant the Gita, and we started a Gita excavation expedition where one shloka was chanted by her each day. So we'll try to link you with her. Yes, ji. All right.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Hari Om ji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Hari Om ji. Hari Om ji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Hari Om.
धन्यवाद हरि
धन्यवाद
ओम
जी. Hari Om ji. Hari Om.
हरि ओम
Hari Om.
हरि ओम
Hari Om ji. Hari Om. Hari Om.